Hey everybody, Seth Campbell here with the new Segue Says podcast. Well, I'm really excited about this week's episode because this is a segue I've wanted to do for a long time. I've had the idea in my head for probably a couple of years now, honestly. I knew I wanted to do something with this, but I couldn't quite figure out how to finesse it. I think I finally got it. The two songs are The Boston Rag by Steely Dan, one of my favorite lesser-known songs by a big artist as usual, and Aint No Sunshine by Bill Withers, the timeless classic. Now, the way this is going to work is usually with segues, I like to, particularly with back and forth segues, which this one is, I like to do everything that the first song has to offer. Segue into the second song, do it in its entirety, and then come back maybe for one extra chorus of the first song, whatever. To do this one, we're gonna have to jump in the middle of Boston Rag to Ain't No Sunshine, and then come back to Boston Rag for this to work. Kind of like what we did with Scenes from Italian Restaurant in the Garden Part 3 about a month ago. Now, Boston Rag, you may or may not know, it's from the second Steely Dan album, Countdown to Ecstasy. In itself, it wasn't a hit, per se. But it has a bit of a following. I know it for some reason, around 2009, 2010, was getting a lot of airplay on The River, the independent Boston radio station, which I credit for introducing me to a number of wonderful songs, this being one of them. And in typical Steely Dan fashion, it's got a lot of bizarre chords. It doesn't exactly fit into a standard, verse, chorus, bridge, etc. style of song organization. But I'm going to give you a sample of a verse chorus and then what amounts to the bridge or a jam section, because that's what we're going to be worried about in terms of the segue. This is the first verse chorus. And I've skipped their crazy intro that is typical of Steely Dan. What the hell are the words? I'm going to do the second verse because that's on the top of my head right now, and it'll lead us straight to the bridge. You were Lady Bayside. There was nothing that I could do. So I pointed my car down 7th Avenue. He swept the playroom, and he swallowed up all he found. It was 48 hours till Annie came around. Bring back the Boston Rag. Tell all your buddies that it ain't no drag. Bring back the Boston Rag. If it were the first verse, which I just remembered the lyrics to, incidentally, it'd go back to the riff here. But since that was the second verse chorus, it goes to this nifty breakdown jam section. There's little guitar fading in and out, little guitars. And then it builds. Just repeats the same progression, but much heavier. Full band is in now. It's essentially a 1-4-5 blues, but all the chords are minor, and then you've got these little chromatic neighbor chords. last chorus. Bring back the Boston rag. Bring it back till all your buddies that it ain't no drag. Gotta bring it on home. And there's a vocal jam, and basically that loops for a while. Now, it seems like a lot of information, but trust me, it's relevant. I wanted to give you the verse chorus so you'd recognize the song, and then the entire structure of the bridge jam section is going to be what we use. Now, for those who couldn't tell, that was all centered around A minor 7. And it's pretty much at the same tempo as Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers. And as I said, a timeless classic. It's, everybody's played it at some point in their lives. Every TV show has used it at some point in its run. It's in a ton of movies, and deservedly so, because it's a great song. It's pretty short, absolute classic. And I have an interesting little personal history with the song that I will tell you a little bit later on. But it goes a little something like this. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, only darkness every day. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away, built a little bit. Wonder this time where she's gone. Wonder if she's gone to stay. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. And the most famous part. And I know, I live a young thing alone. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Last verse. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's never warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and this house just ain't no home. Anytime she goes away. It cycles that. Anytime she goes away. Sort of fades on that, it cycles it a couple more times. That's basically it. It's a pretty short song, very short and sweet, very radio friendly, and again, just a truly great classic, as many of Bill Withers' songs is. That's probably his most famous. Of course, you got Lovely Day, Lean on Me. You got a lot of songs like that that are just incredibly catchy, unforgettable, just brilliantly written. Now, I do a little bit of a... We're going to use the last verse of Ain't No Sunshine when we segue back into Boston Rag. And I want to show something I do just a little bit differently, because to my mind it builds a little more tension in the last verse. Since I'm just a solo piano player, I don't have a band, I do it a little differently, and I stole this from a satire parody group called the Capitol Steps, who's been in business for almost 35 years now. They were all former low-level staffers to Congress, and they put on basically musical comedy parodies of pop songs to the relevant current events, and they do a new album every year. And they've used this song a few times. The first one I heard was from their 2003 show, which was called Papa's Got a Brand New Bag, Dad. And it's sung by someone who's pretending to be George W. Bush about the national debt. And it's like, ain't no surplus, now it's gone. So you can see, they're a very goofy bunch, and they don't take themselves seriously at all. They, poke fun at both sides of the aisle and anything that's going on. Now, they're piano players. They have a bunch of different piano players for different styles live. They are brilliant. I cannot overstate this. A lot of people don't necessarily pick up on that aspect, but they're playing, and they cover songs from all sorts of genres. Their piano players are phenomenal, and their arrangements and playing are just great. And the first version I ever heard of this song, actually, was the one I just played, Ain't No Surplus, Now It's Gone, the Capitol Steps version. Then I looked up the original, because, of course, Bill Withers, you have to look up the original. But they do the chord progression a little differently, and I like to implement that in the last verse, as opposed to just, ain't no sunshine when she's gone, E minor 7, she's always gone too long, D minor 7, anytime she goes away. There's also kind of, the 5-4-1 blues using all minor chords. They do something a little different. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, D minor, she's always gone too long, F7, anytime, E minor, E7, she goes away. It gives a little more bite. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long, anytime she goes away. Anytime she goes away. I always like that, and especially to do it just on the last verse, because it puts a little more build in the song. Feel free to steal that. Just know it came from the Capitol Steps, not from me. But to my mind, that adds drama. Anyway, you can probably hear already the similarity between these songs. So the big question should be, if you're an aspiring Segue artist, or if, or you've watched a bunch of these videos before, the current question in your mind should be, okay, so where in that bridge are we going to put this? We're going to put it in between the breakdown of, this is the bridge of Boston Rag, and the second cycle of the bridge where it's built up to jam over the same progression. Because by that point it's, it's heavy rock. And Ain't No Sunshine is many things. Heavy rock is not one of them. So we want to capitalize on this, sort of this moment of calm. And you want to do it after the progression is cycled through. Now, that chromatic neighbor chord, it's not completely chromatic, because then it would be a minor. In this case, it's a dominant of A flat 7, or G sharp 7 in the scale. That's going to cause us a little bit of trouble, and that has been my main stumbling block in trying to make this segue work in this entire time that I've had floating around my head. Because Ain't No Sunshine is very diatonic. The original version doesn't use any notes out of scale at all, and the little Capitol Steps rewrite does use this flat 5 for the subdominant, their secondary subdominant, I guess you'd say. And so this, which is 3 notes out of the scale, is really an awkward place to start. And I couldn't think of any way to get around this, and it finally hit me last night. And I just felt so excited that I had to do this segue today. Just omit that one neighbor chord. You wouldn't think it would take me 2 years to come up with this, would you? It does. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, only darkness every day. Easy. You just play this same rhythmic pattern without this neighbor chord. Just hold the A minor 7. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And to help the transition smoother, just do these very open voicings in the right hand, just the one low bass note, and no one will notice, the changes in scale or anything, really, because it's very smooth to just do it that way, and especially the dropout. Ain't no sunshine when she's... having 3 beats of nothing on the piano, just the vocals, again, smooths over any possible seams that might be showing. So that is how you get from Boston Rag into Ain't No Sunshine, and that was the bit that was absolutely agonizing me. Now, in Boston Rag, after the last... there's this big guitar, crazy rock jam. And yes, I actually just did that. So, how would you get from anytime she goes away. To that, just don't fade it out. Just keep the intensity you build with this extra capital steps chord. The sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away, anytime she goes away. And the third one, anytime she goes away. Go right into the built-up version of the jam from Boston Rag. Well, serves me right for showing off. Okay, here's what happened. As I got to the end of making this Segue podcast, I had already demonstrated the Segue and was pretty much ready to close out, but I couldn't just leave it alone. No, I had to do some fancy improvisation and jam thing just to show off. And of course, my phone ran out of memory in the process. Now, I cleared a lot of space off prior to making this, so I would have expected that there would have been enough room, because I cleared over a gigabyte last week, and this video certainly isn't that much. However, I've had to update a lot of apps in the past week. I actually haven't updated to the new operating system yet, because I have an old phone, and I'm afraid it won't work. It's just going to break the damn thing. But I guess all of the updates just took up more and more space on the phone without really letting me know that that was going to happen. And as a result, I didn't have enough room to finish filming the podcast. Now, I've kept a commitment to one live take being the podcast episode for 83 episodes, a year and a half now. But there were a few reasons I decided not to do that this time. For one, things just went so well during the filming of this one that I rather doubted the magic would reappear, and I wanted to keep it since we got everything of importance, and there were only a few seconds of me going into the last chorus of the Boston Rag that got cut. And second, I'm just too tired. You know, 16 minutes podcast, film the whole thing again, because I already had to empty a lot of stuff off my phone onto my computer just to clear enough space to film this, let alone refilm the entire podcast. I've got other things I have to do. It's Sunday night. I have an early morning on Monday. I just can't do it. I can't redo it in its entirety. So I figured I'd just tack on this little explanation at the end to tell you what happened and why there's such an abrupt cut from the end. But basically, as I said, I demonstrated everything that needed to be demonstrated. We showed how to get from Ain't No Sunshine into Boston Rag, from Boston Rag into Ain't No Sunshine, and how to go back from Ain't No Sunshine into Boston Rag. And basically, I was just showing off, jamming on the Boston Rag progression, was going to sing the last chorus, and then sign out. So now, I'm ready to sign out for real this time. So, sorry for the confusion and the chaos. I realize this is this is the first time this has happened. Hopefully, it will be the last. Maybe I'll upgrade to a new phone soon. I don't know, because this, I don't want this to keep happening. But in any event, thanks for putting up with me. Thanks for putting up with the delay in the episode. Hopefully it didn't wreck it for you, because as I said, this segue's been 2 years in the making, so I'm really happy that it's finally done. So thank you, as always, for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you can forgive the screw-ups. I will see you next week.